Most Australians have no idea whether their superannuation is on track. They check the balance occasionally, vaguely know it is supposed to grow, then close the app and get on with their day. Meanwhile, the gap between where they are and where they need to be quietly widens until it is too late to do much about it. Today, we are fixing that. These are the real benchmarks at every stage of your working life, updated for 2026. Find your age group, check where you stand, and then we will talk about what to do if the number you are looking at is not the number you need. First, the target. The Association of Superannuation Funds of Australia puts the comfortable retirement target for a single person at around $595,000 in super, assuming you own your home and have access to a part age pension. For a couple, that figure sits at around $690,000 combined. This is not a lavish retirement. It covers a reasonable car, private health insurance, some travel, and a social life that does not require rationing. A decent life, not an extravagant one. If you want full financial independence without relying on the pension at all, the numbers climb higher. Closer to $1 million for a single person and $1,500,000 for a couple. Keep those figures in mind as we go through each decade, ages 18 to 24. A realistic benchmark here is between $5,000 and $15,000, depending on how long you have been working. If you are at the lower end, you are not behind, but you are at the point where time is worth more than money, because every dollar invested now has 40 years to compound. The most important action at this age is consolidation. A large share of people in this bracket have multiple super accounts from different casual jobs, each one quietly paying fees on a small balance that should be compounding instead. Go to the ATO portal, find every account in your name, and roll them into one low-fee fund. It takes 20 minutes. Also worth knowing, if you earn under $43,445 and make a personal after-tax contribution into your super, the government adds up to $500 for free through the co-contribution scheme. Free money into a compounding account is not something to ignore. Ages 25 to 34, this is the decade where the foundation either gets built properly or the first cracks appear. A reasonable benchmark by age 30 is $30,000 to $50,000. By 34, that should be pushing toward $50,000 to $80,000 for someone in consistent full-time work. These figures reflect standard employer contributions at the current 12% super guarantee rate without any extra effort on your part. If your balance is below these figures, salary sacrifice is the most powerful tool available to you right now. The concessional contribution cap in 2026 sits at $30,000 per year, including your employer's 12%, which means most people in this bracket have room to contribute extra on top. Every dollar salary sacrificed into super is taxed at 15% instead of your marginal rate. For someone on $80,000, that marginal rate is 32.5%. That gap is a guaranteed immediate return before the investment does anything at all. Even $100 a fortnight directed into super in your late 20s gives that money 30 plus years to compound. The math on that is difficult to argue with. Ages 35 to 44. By the middle of this decade, compounding should be becoming visible. A reasonable benchmark at 40 is between $120,000 and $180,000. By 44, that range should be pushing toward $150,000 to $220,000 for consistent earners. The gender gap in superannuation becomes most visible in this decade, and it is worth naming directly. Career breaks for caring responsibilities, part-time transitions, and the persistent wage gap all flow through into super balances. Women in their late 30s and early 40s frequently carry balances 20 to 30% below equivalent male peers. If this applies to you, catch-up contributions are worth understanding. If your total super balance is under $500,000, you can carry forward unused concessional cap amounts from the previous 5 years and deploy them in a single high-income year. For everyone in this bracket, the basics should be on autopilot by now. One fund, low fees, a growth-oriented investment option appropriate for your timeline, salary sacrifice in place, beneficiary nominations current. If any of those are missing, fix them this week, ages 45 to 54. This is the decade that determines whether the retirement you planned for is actually going to happen. A reasonable benchmark at 50 is between $200,000 and $320,000. By 54, that range should be toward $280,000 to $400,000 for someone who has contributed consistently. The uncomfortable reality is that the median super balance in Australia at this age sits well below these figures. The average is pulled higher by a smaller group with significantly larger balances. For the typical Australian in their early 50s, the gap between where they are and where they need to be is real, and it is closing fast. The most powerful move here is maxing out concessional contributions and using carry forward provisions aggressively. If your total super balance is under $500,000, unused cap amounts from the past 5 years can be contributed in a single year at the concessional 15% tax rate instead of your marginal rate of 37%. The tax saving alone on a large catch-up contribution is substantial. Debt elimination becomes equally critical in this decade. Every dollar of debt cleared before 60 is a dollar that does not need to be funded from your super drawdown for the next 25 years. Ages 55 to 64, you are at the doorstep. The target by 64 is as close as possible to $595,000 for a single person and $690,000 for a couple. The current reality is that median balances at this age sit well below those figures, which means the gap between where most Australians actually land and what a comfortable retirement requires is one of the most significant financial challenges in the country right now. If you are in this bracket and the gap is real, there are still levers available. The downsizer contribution allows Australians aged 55 or older who sell a family home they have owned for at least 10 years to contribute up to $300,000 of the proceeds into super outside the normal cap. For those with significant equity in property, this can be a meaningful late-stage catch-up. Transition to retirement strategies can also be worth exploring with a financial advisor in the right circumstances. And the age pension remains part of the equation. At $31,200 a year for a single person, it is not enough alone. But combined with even a modest super drawdown and a debt-free home, it can fund a livable retirement. The number most Australians will not say out loud, the average Australian super balance across all ages is not on track for a comfortable retirement. This is not a personal failure. The guarantee rate spent most of its history below 10%. Many workers spent years without proper contributions. The system is better now than it was, but the legacy of those earlier years shows up in the balances of people who are close to retirement right now. If you are younger, you have the one thing that cannot be bought back: time, consistent contributions, low fees, a growth investment option, and the discipline to leave it alone during market downturns will produce a retirement balance that the current median does not reflect. One action worth taking today, whatever your age: log into the ATO portal, find every super account in your name, check the fees, check the investment option, set up salary sacrifice if you have not, update your beneficiary nomination if it is blank or out of date. 1 hour. Most Australians have not done it. The ones who have are quietly pulling ahead, not because they earn more, but because the foundation is correctly set up and time is working for them. If this helped clarify where you stand, hit the like button and subscribe. I will see you in the next one.